Nickelodeon cancelled it. The rights were picked up by Disney. And as we've mentioned, the show went through a dramatic retooling. Patty went from a strong, independent woman to a cheerleader. Roger went from a kid from the wrong side of the tracks in poverty to a snobby rich kid after a real estate deal with a wealthy family in town. And the message portion of the show went out the window, becoming just another cartoon. And that right there is why I think people look down on this cartoon.
Yeah.
Because of the second half of it. Because there were more episodes produced by Disney than there were by Nickelodeon.
Really?
Yes. There were 64 episodes produced by Disney. And it was a 22-minute format as opposed to 2 11-minute formats.
Okay, so yeah, like double or more.
Yeah, so they had to have a longer plot, and they had to do more character depth, and it didn't need all of that. It just needed a kid daydreaming. That's all it needed. That was the essence of the show. You might as well have made this Recess, which was a god-awful cartoon.
Yeah, it wasn't a lot to it. It was very just... There wasn't a lot going on.
No. So, yeah. I mean, the legacy's seen in a couple of different ways, right? On the one hand, it seems a show that shows kids their worth, that their feelings and situation could change at any moment, and they could be fine. But on the other hand, it was overshadowed by Rugrats and Ren and Stimpy.
It was a crowded room.
Yeah.
And I think it we talked before about, like, last time we recorded Independence Day, about how that one was in kind of a similar situation. It was a very crowded room, like action thrillers and sci-fi thrillers at the time. But if you look at it, if you isolate it and just look at it for what it is now, it definitely has merit. It definitely deserves to be considered one of the best of that era, if not the best of all time.
Yeah, I mean,
just because of everything it does.
We ranked it as one of the top cartoons of the era. Because it was. And we ranked the Disney version one of the worst cartoons of the era because it was. I mean, Disney's version not only made the original series look redundant, but I'd argue it ruined the reputation of it.
Tarnished it a little bit?
Yeah. Not even a little bit. I'd say completely and utterly ruined it.
I don't even consider it a part of the canon.
Me neither.
I mean, it's kind of like there's... I don't know if you watch much of The Office, but that there's still a lot of huge fan base for that.
Oh yeah.
And there's like all these groups of people that fall into different categories. That you have the purists that watch the entire series, but then you have the Michaels, where they only watch up until Michael leaves and then they start it over. And then you have other people that like somewhere in between, like they're fine with it all, but they don't feel like it has to be like one or the other. Like they can commingle or whatever.
I got you. And it's just, I can't seriously hide my disdain for it. I really can't, because there's very few things I've spoken about on this podcast that I've disliked or I've said negative things about, because I want to relive some of the happier moments of my teenage years and my childhood and everything like that. Yeah. But when you have something that you enjoyed stripped away and repackaged as, this is the equivalent of Coca-Cola and New Coke.
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand why they had to hitch their wagon onto the Doug legacy to do that. They could have just started their own thing.
Made the same show.
You just not gotten Doug involved. I mean, I wonder if that would have stood on its own without the Doug wagon attached to it, because that's what drug it down.
Yeah, and it's shame. It really, really is a shame. But we've got these 52 episodes that were produced by Nickelodeon that are some of the best. I mean, look, right? As we said at the beginning of this episode, and we said a couple of times too, this show might be seen as boring, but it was relatable.
Yeah.
And we all could identify with one or two of the characters. Yeah. And
we knew one of those characters in our personal life.
Yes. And every character had depth, and every character, even the goofy neighbor had a little bit of depth to him, They all had depth. Definitely. They all had characteristics that made them stand out. And I just feel like Disney tore that down. Which is why, I'm not a fan of Disney cartoons, because they're not that good. There are some that did come out later on after they changed directors, the studio and stuff like that. Like Kim Possible. My kids love that.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is just another attempt to do something, and it just didn't work off. And then it was all okay. Well, it didn't work. We're just gonna cancel it now.
Yeah, they were just it's like buying a company and then trying to run it, like taking away from it all the things that made it awesome
Yeah,
and then wondering why it failed. Um, okay, like for instance, one of the there's a place in town here that's known for its margaritas.
yeah,
Like they sell thousands of those things every day. Like say someone bought it and they were like, "Eh, we're gonna sell cotton candy now,"
yeah.
and they'd be like, what?
Where's my
Oh,
margarita?
yeah, here, cotton candy?
No.
No. Okay, we're gonna go down the street and get margaritas from them.
Yeah,
Why is everyone leaving?
because you're not
So
doing
yeah,
margaritas anymore.
it's shocking to me that they just yanked the rug out from the core of that franchise and expected it to flourish. I mean, they flooded the market with tons of episodes to try to make it stick, and
Just
we're
didn't.
here disavowing it.
Right?
Like
I mean,
like
30 years later, we're sitting here going, that was crap.
yeah, definitively. Yeah, I knew it then and I know it now. So
So,